want answers.
I want the truth.
Hello. Before we get into this week's episode, I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up, a little bit of a warning, because during this episode, it was a wild ride for me, to say the least, in the recording of this, not just with the content, but the actual recording. So in this episode, I am going to talk to you all about 2025, the energy of 2025, what to expect, the kinds of things that may occur this year, both for yourself personally, but for the world at large, and all of these incredible things. And because of incredible things, all of this kind of stuff is what I was trying to say. Because of the nature of this year being a pretty intense year, you're all feeling the energy already. Some of the things that I was talking about in this episode seem to have triggered something. Okay, that's what I'll call it for right now. There were multiple occasions throughout this episode where the lighting dropped out around me. So my desk lamp just stopped working. The lights above my head were flickering. So there will be a part of this podcast where it will be absolutely terrible lighting and I had shadows over my face and all of this kind of thing. There were also parts of the episode of this recording where Zoom completely just dropped out, vanished from my screen. I didn't know what happened. I was there talking, the next it was gone. I also had the internet drop out throughout the recording of this episode, completely drop out and then come back in. Mind you, we had just gotten a brand new flash NBN thingamabobber, installed and have not had a single issue with it since it was connected up. And yet it dropped out multiple times throughout this episode. And just to top it all off, as if that wasn't enough, there were also 2 power outages that I heard from our power company actually only affected our street. So it really seemed as if there was something in the universe that didn't want this episode to get out. I persisted. I think I started recording this episode at about 7:30 p.m. and with all of the interruptions and everything that went on, the final power outage cut everything out at just over 12:30 after midnight. So apologies in advance for this episode. It's a bit choppy, to say the least. I am a busy mama by day to a very active, almost 3-year-old. And so my capacity to re-record is 0. So we have to make do with what we've got because we are just absolutely under the pump with time and everything like that. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a little bit different to my previous episodes, but it is the nature of the year that we are headed for. So buckle up, everybody. You're in for a big one. Let me welcome you to the Real Lies podcast. I always say this wrong. Real Eyes, Realize Real Lies podcast. I am, of course, your host, Georgina Grace, and I'm so excited to be here with you and to be giving you the very first episode for 2025. This year is a big year. I wanted to take the opportunity to record this episode to tell you literally all about 2025. It is going to be a monumental year. It is set to be a very, very, very big year. So I really wanted to dedicate an entire podcast episode to this, to the energy of this year. So I'm going to be talking about the energy, the universal energy that we are going to be under for the entirety of 2025, what that energy means, what it represents, what to expect at a global level, and then, of course, what to expect at an individual level. I'm going to give you some recommendations, what, I would recommend you focus on for yourself, for your family, for your life, particularly this year. And I will also talk a little bit about 2030 because we are 2025, we are halfway there. 5 years to go until this big 2030 big, reset or time of choice that it will be and what is to come, because there's been a very big build up to that point. So yes, this is a big episode. Strap yourself in. Get your ears conditioned, ready, oiled up. I don't know. I'm trying to be a podcasting person and say the fancy things, but I just don't have it in me to do that because I'm a bit of a nerd. That's why. All right. So before before I get into it all, oh gosh, I feel so awkward. Blah. Maybe I haven't warmed up enough. Oh, poor listener. I want to be so much more professional. All right, here we go. My love, when you're listening to this, this is, well, I don't know how many minutes in because this doesn't have a counter. Anyway, I'd say it's about 5 minutes into the recording. Let's just cut all that beginning part out and let's do a take two here. Okay, take two. This is what we're doing. We're doing a take two. All right. Hello and welcome to the Real Lies podcast. I am your host, Georgina Grace, and I'm so excited to be here with you, bringing you the first episode of 2025. You have me solo in this episode, reminiscent of the very first episode of this podcast where I did that solo, but I'm going to do a better job this time. I'm going to look at you and not down because I was nervous as heck in that episode and it was a very raw episode. So today's episode, like I said, you have me solo. You get to listen to the sound of my voice only throughout this entire episode. And if you're listening and you're like, damn, I really wanted to hear someone else's voice, I'm kind of sick of her voice. Firstly, I don't blame you. Secondly, too bad, you don't have a choice. Strap yourself in. This is going to be a big one. Okay. The whole intention for this episode and me bringing you this episode today is the 2nd of January, 2025. I don't know what the date will be when this gets out, but hopefully soon. I needed to bring this to you ASAP, okay, because 2025 is going to be a monumental year for so many reasons, okay? And so this entire episode will be dedicated to the ins and outs of the energetics of 2025, what we are in for, what we're up for, my recommendations for how to deal with it, how to navigate it, how to best manage it and take advantage of it for your own self and your own life and what you're up for and your soul's purpose, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm also going to be, so I'll be talking about, what to expect at a more global kind of bigger picture type level. I'll also just talk about what to expect at an individual level. This is where, for me, this is where my passions really lie. Is yes, it is absolutely important to hold the big picture and to look at the global, what's going on at that level and at that scale. But at the same time, it's one thing to have awareness of these things and to know about them and et cetera, et cetera. But the most important part, in my view, in my perspective, is, well, what does that mean for me? And what am I supposed to do about that? And you know what I mean? So at the individual level, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your family? How do you get the most out of this energy for you? Because when we do this for ourselves, this is when, as a collective, we can come through it together. So, we will look at the global, what to expect energetically, and of course, individually, as I said, I'll talk about some recommendations that I have for you for this coming year, 2025. I'm also going to talk about the energy itself and really do a good job of explaining this energy for you so that you can really kind of understand it. And I will also try not to say as much as I say it. Now you are only going to hear me say through this entire episode. Isn't that great that I just planted that? So, there it is again. Okay. Getting back on track, I'm also going to talk about 2030, okay, because 2025 is halfway to 2030 in this decade that we are currently in, and we've got 5 years to go. So that energy is pulling us more and more with every year, month, day that passes. And that 2030 is a big freaking energy. There's a reason why there's been build up towards it. And it's been written about, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to talk about all of that. So as I said at the beginning, strap yourselves in, people, because this is going to be a big one, okay? And a valuable one for you and for your experience of your life this year. Listen to me. Talk this up. So, if you can listen to this in its entirety in this one setting, that will give you the most benefit. You're going to want to. You may not want to turn this off when you get it started. Do your best. Do your best. And of course, go back, listen to it over and over and over again, because I just like knowing that people are out there listening to me and my voice. Okay. All right, Corey, you can cut that out because I sound like a freaking ridiculous, crazy person. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, you know what? Welcome to the crazy, okay? The state of my mind and my brain is exactly the experience of this year that we're coming into, okay? So I'm just going to be authentic in my crazy. And you have no choice but to accept that because you're listening. So before I get into everything that I just said that I am getting into in this episode, I have some announcements that I want to share with you first and foremost. Uh, as I said, this year that we are coming into is a big year. It's a big year. 2025 is a non-universal energy. And so it is the ending of a cycle, of a big cycle. And this past cycle has been a freaking big one. So I created the Align 25 two-part workshop to help you prepare yourself for getting the most out of this year and this ending of a cycle. So there were so many incredible people that joined me live for part one of Align 25, where we, through a very intense meditation, it was it was like energetic surgical work that we did as a collective in going back and releasing energetically anything that we were storing within our energetic sphere from the experiences of 2024. We went back month by month and energetically, surgically removed these build-ups or blockages or energetic, I don't even know, objects, so to speak, that didn't needed to be removed and released in order for us to be able to have a clear and blank canvas, so to speak, for creation of 2025. Because you cannot authentically and organically create something when it is on a foundation of a build-up of past anything, whether it's past emotion, failures, disappointments, anything, even the good things. It's like your team may have won the grand final this year, but winning that grand final doesn't mean automatically you're going to win it the next year. In fact, you actually need to celebrate the heck out of that win, but get it out of your system, because come next year, we're starting from ground zero again. That's required. Are we going to go back and look at, what worked, what didn't work, what was really good, what wasn't so good, and learn from our performance from the year before? Absolutely. Absolutely. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But in terms of the emotion, the celebration, the confidence in, I won last year, so, I'm going to win this year. No, it's a completely new season, new players, old players left, there's new coaches, new everything, new energy that we're under, everything is new. So, a saying I used to use when I was supporting mothers through their birthing experience and in the preparation during their pregnancy is often to mothers who they're preparing to give birth to their second, third baby. What's really common is that we will go to, in the first time, this is what happened, this is what my body did, this is da 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 da. So they would take that into their next experience and be comparing this experience, this pregnancy, this birth, etc., this child, my body, da 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 da, to the previous one. And something that I would always say to the mothers is, you can't birth the same baby twice. You just can't. This is an entirely new baby, an entirely new pregnancy. and you have an entirely new body. Your body is not the same as it was before that baby and before that pregnancy. This is a whole new body. So, yes, there are certain things now that we can expect because we've been through it, but it's entirely new. You cannot birth the same baby twice. So we want to go through the process of releasing and letting go of all of what is tied to that first baby and that first experience so that we can give this new experience the opportunity to be exactly what it is, an entirely new experience, entirely. And to also give us the best opportunity at winning and succeeding, whatever that may mean for us. So, this is what we did in Align 25, part one. It was really intense, energetic surgical work to go back month by month, 2024, and actually releasing what we have stored in our system from that year. And it was really intense, as I said. But what the people in that session experienced, and a lot of them said, was, wow, I had no idea I was holding on to so much. And this was just from this year. A lot of the people in that session, this was the first time that they had actually done this level of work on going back and releasing. And so they were kind of present to, wow, if this is just from one year, what am I holding on to from before that? Right. So this is really important practice. And if you can get in the habit of doing this every year, I mean, as often as you can, monthly even. Some people I know do it weekly. This is like creating such efficiency and productivity in your life. When we don't do this, when we don't regularly release what is needed to be released, then we are constantly swinging on the pendulum, going from one extreme to the other, constantly in a state of reacting. Well, because, I set these news resolutions last year. I did really well the first 2 weeks and then it kind of fizzled out, et cetera, et cetera. Story repeats, right? With different circumstances, different areas of our life. But that's essentially what happens is because last year I did this or I didn't do this, then this year I'm going to do it. This is just what happens. Backwards and forth until we stop and go, hang on, let me just actually release that, deal with it, release it. Now let me create from a foundation of nothingness. When there is a space of nothingness, literally anything becomes available. Everything becomes available, right? Is limited when you don't do that work of releasing and getting to nothingness. So that was part one, line 25. Part two is it's Monday, the 6th of January. Let me just double check that. Yes, Monday, the 6th of January. And it will start at 6:30 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. So we'd love for you to join that session. Now, if you can't actually make it live to the session, anybody who purchases a ticket to that online event will get the recording within 24 hours for free. Okay. So, well, it's part of purchasing a ticket. So you will get the live experience recorded. Okay. I will be making these workshops available online for purchase after the fact. So if you didn't purchase a ticket, if you didn't attend live, then there's still an opportunity for you to go back and do this. I cannot promise when I will have those up on the website, but I will have them up on the website for you to purchase as a one-off kind of purchase. So, however, if you can be there live, please be there live, because that is when you're feeling the energy of other people in the in the group and as a collective. That's where the power is, in my opinion. So, would love for you to join me and many other people in part two of Align 25 on Monday night, January the 6th from 6:30 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. I'll put the links, of course, down below. This in the part two, this is where, because we've already done the work to release and it was intense work, this is the fun part. This is where we actually get to meet and connect with our highest self, and we get to align our intentions for 2025 with the energetics of 2025 and also with our highest self. And this is what has us really set up to win. So, love for you to join. As I said, I'll put the links in the thing below. After this episode, after I've done recording it, of course, put the links everywhere so that you can get them. But that is coming up on the 6th of January. I have, of course, the next numerology course starting on Tuesday. So the next numerology course will be Tuesday nights from, again, 6:30 p.m. Sydney, Melbourne time. I am located in Victoria, so it's always my time zone. It's always, whenever I say a time, it's always in my time zone. So that is the 28th of January, 6:30 p.m. And I can feel this is going to be a big one. I will be restructuring my entire structure of the offerings that I have and the courses that I have throughout 2025, which may look like only being able to experience these courses via a recording. So the live of these courses, because of what I'm creating, I need to evolve and move to another layer of my soul's journey, my soul's purpose. And I need to, inside of that, release some things and ways of how I'm going about things now. It's not to say it's going to be gone forever, but there's a very good chance at some point this year, those live courses will be a recording only, and there's only certain avenues that you'll be able to work with me in a live setting. So I have a very big feeling that this January course is going to be a big one. And it feels for me like it will be a big one for me personally. Every single course, I grow and learn so much, not only about myself, not only about numerology, but also about myself as a teacher and teaching. I never in a million years ever thought that I would be teaching, full stop, teaching full stop, let alone teaching numerology. So every single course I grow within myself in all of those capacities. And, the most recent course that I have been teaching, which is still ongoing, I've just really felt so grounded within myself, within my ability to teach it, and like the confidence that I have in the modality itself, and that it is valid, and all of these things. When I first started with numerology and like putting myself out there with it, it was such a hobby. It was such a like not a thing I even took seriously or thought it was anything that was going to go anywhere, or you know what I mean? I was very skeptical, and you know, and I'm still pinching myself that holy, I did not see this coming, so that I'm teaching it and have been teaching it for so long now and so many courses and with so many people. I'm so grateful, but I just never saw it coming. And this, the last two courses that I've taught, I have definitely reached a whole level to myself, my own expression, my own like surrendering to my own authentic truth. I'm not saying I'm completely there yet. I have so far to go, but I've felt really, really grounded within myself and my abilities these last couple of courses. And so it just feels very natural that this coming January course feels like a bit of an eruption for me in reaching a whole other level and layer to my expression, my ability to channel through, the numbers and teaching them in different ways and to more, different varieties of people, et cetera, et cetera. It's also, definitely have a lot, it also has a lot to do with the really intense um, healing and therapy that I have been putting myself through this past year in 2024. And I mean, incredibly deep level healing and a very deep unraveling of childhood traumas and abuses and things like that. There's, you know, I will definitely at some point share with you about the things that have unfolded and unraveled for me this past year. I am nowhere near ready to go near that in sharing it publicly yet because I'm still coming to terms with it myself, to be completely transparent, still very much coming to terms with it, working through the process of processing it, understanding it, making sense of it, all of this stuff. But what I can tell you, and I feel very comfortable telling you now, is it's really effed up stuff. And I had a pretty good idea of the kind of childhood I had. And the things that unraveled this year, well, I found a trapdoor. And under that trapdoor, there was so much more that I had no idea was there. That is apparently very much there. So, this work that I've been doing behind the scenes, you haven't necessarily seen it, but it's there and it has been there and it is very intense. I have felt extremely psychotic at times, where on one hand, I'm presenting like this and I'm teaching courses and doing readings and podcasts and all of the recording videos and all of these amazing things. And then on the other hand, I'm a total and utter mess in pieces early in the morning, crazy emotional, just the most intense unraveling, and this is what it looks like. My therapist reassures me that, yes, feeling psychotic, this two life, double life kind of experience, this is part of what it is when you go through a memory retrieval process. But it's important to continue the activities in your life and continue your soul work, because this is what keeps you sane in a lot of ways. But it is this work that I have been doing that has allowed me to reach further depths of my ability, of my gifts, of my power, of my soul purpose, of my authentic, true soul self, and bring that forward. It's been incredibly painful, but reaching through that pain has been what has allowed me to also reach through to the power that has been suppressed behind that pain. So there's a lot of reasons why this course, Jan 28, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m., feels like it's going to be a big one. And I'm calling for it to be a big one. I want it to be the biggest course that I've ever taught, because it's going to challenge me and freak me the F out. But I need that. I need to see that. So if you are someone who is drawn to numbers, finding yourself being drawn to numbers and wanting to know about them, and this is what's been happening, people are starting to really hear and have awareness of numerology now in a way that just wasn't there before. It's very strange to me, and interesting is a better word, that this is one of the oldest modalities, one of the most ancient modalities when it comes to translating the energetics of the universe, if not the oldest, because numbers numbers exist in all modalities. Doesn't matter what it is. It forms a fundamental piece to all the modalities when it comes to translating, deciphering the energetics of the universe. And yet, it's the most uncommon. And at the same time, in my opinion, it is the simplest. And that's where the power is, in the simplicity of it. And is there part of me that thinks that this is done on purpose, that this very simple yet very powerful yet very ancient modality has been purposely not put in the forefront, in the public eye? Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy and so simple. It really, all it takes is understanding the energetics behind each number. A layman's way to say that is understanding what each number means. That is it. That's all you need. Now, at a drop of a hat, you can understand anybody, right? Anybody. Oh, you're born on the 3rd. Ugh, you've probably got this kind of energy. No wonder why they're acting like that. Oh, you're born in the 3rd month. Well, let me tell you about that. I know all about you. I can understand you, therefore I can understand your unique needs. Okay. Now, of course, there's so much more to it than just simply understanding each number. There's so much more to it. It's incredibly layered and intricate and very, very, very detailed, like very detailed. And if you've had a reading with me, you'll be very, oftentimes people will say to me, well, I was very surprised with how detailed that was and how accurate a lot of the time, because you can never mess with the numbers. And in most cases, you can never change your numbers. So the numbers represent what they represent. If you have that number, you get access to everything that that number can do. I always like to explain the numbers like they are channels you've subscribed to. So the numbers you have, you subscribe to those channels, which means if you've got access to that channel, you can watch and play any of the programs, any of the shows that play on that channel. The numbers you don't have, you haven't subscribed to those channels. You don't have access. So you're not supposed to do the things that those numbers, those channels do. You're not supposed to. So understanding this is understanding yourself at such a deep and simple level. It's very clear cut. I'm not supposed to do those things. People always say all the time, I don't know what happened. I just hit a wall. Often, what you hit, you do hit a wall. You hit the wall of a channel you haven't paid for. So you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to operate in that, in the way that that number wants is, or that channel operates. So a lot of the time I'm finding that people are drawn to numbers because it resonates as real truth for them. And it's simple. You can grasp it. Oh, I'm born on the 5th. Ah, no wonder why I'm like all the ways that I am. And I've been through so many different jobs and relationships, and I've moved around a lot and I've traveled a lot and I can't sit still. And people have always said, what's wrong with you? Why can't you sit still? Right? This is all 5 energy stuff. Immediately, like, what? Hang on a second, right? It just resonates as truth. And so, if this resonates with you and you are drawn to numbers, you're drawn to numerology, 2025 is a year where you just want to take the action. You just want to deal with it. You just want to deal with it. There's something to be dealt with. Let's just deal with it here and now so that it's done and we just freaking move on with our lives, right? So pull at the strings that resonate. This is something that resonates. Pull at the string, book yourself into the freaking course. You will not regret it. It will be, yes, a big learning experience, like learning an entirely new language, but it's learning a language you already know because it is your truth already. It's just giving language to it. But it's also probably going to be a very in-depth healing journey for you, which is what a lot of people say from my courses and what has happened a lot, that there are people in my courses that have visibly reversed age. And you know who I am talking about. Those people that were in that course, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And my dear, if you're listening, you know exactly that I am talking about you. There are people that have reversed freaking age visibly to every person in the course. They have reversed age. It's ridiculous because of the healing that comes through these courses. It is the intention, not only that you learn, but you heal, that you do it all without knowing you're doing it. So I intend to make it fun, enjoyable, entertaining, all of this stuff so that, the best exercise is the exercise you don't know you're doing, right? It's just so much fun. Okay, so join me. It starts the 28th of January. It's on Tuesday nights. It will be every Tuesday night. So fundamentals. We start with fundamentals, and in that course, it is all about the numbers. We need to pull apart and learn each number individually in depth. And that's an 8-week course every Tuesday night for 8 weeks straight, starting the 28th of Jan at 6:30 p.m., which is Tuesday nights. So I'll put a link below, of course. And then master's course, this is where I teach you how to read numerology, how to do everything that I do with numbers, understanding the energetics, being able to calculate the energetic of any given year, day, month for the universal layer, but also for you personally based off your own birth date, which I'll talk more about in this episode. And how to decipher soul names and soul contracts. Okay. Or as I like to put it, because it's more accurate, how to decipher someone's incarnation contract, which is a subcontract of their soul contract, their main soul contract. But this incarnation contract that we have currently signed, that we're here for, right? How to decipher that specifically. Um, and just so much more. So that's masters. That is a 6 week course that follows directly after fundamentals. It's intended so that you do one and then immediately do the other. So it's intended for one to follow the other, and that's how you do it. Although, because choice is incredibly important, I break it down so that you don't have to do both all in one. You can choose to just do one and then the other at a later date. Um, in my experience, it's the best to do it straight away when it's fresh, because when you take a break in between, that's when it kind of fades, you know. So it's best to do it straight away. So if you can book into both, you don't have to book into both straight away. You can do it, a lot of people do it after, a few weeks or before masters start. Regardless, it's up to you. So, however, so it's 8 weeks for fundamentals. I know I'm freaking scattered right now talking about this, but you're following. So 8 weeks for fundamentals, 6 weeks for masters, follows immediately after each other. And of course, once you've completed masters, you will get a certificate to say you have completed the masters numerology course with Gigi. And I'm very, very, very excited as well to this year. I will be launching a brand new course. Very, very, very excited about this. This course is a course that so far, I'm probably going to change the name of this course, but it is called the Practitioner's Course for now. And this is for people who have completed up to masters with me that actually want to practice numerology as a livelihood, whether it's in the capacity of doing numerology readings, whether it's part of what you're already doing, whatever it is. This is specifically targeted at people that want to be practitioners of numerology and essentially do what I do with the readings, etc. So this is I am in the middle of writing this course and really refining it. I'm aiming for the very first launch of this course to be in early Feb, so around the 8th of Feb. And if you have completed the numerology course up to masters with me, then you're eligible to join me for this practitioner's course. The very first version of this course will be a pilot course. So like a guinea pig course, so to speak. It's definitely going to be very intense. Probably like something you have not experienced before, because we're not just going to be honing what you learnt in the numerology course that you have completed and really deepening your confidence and your ability in the numbers and how you read the numbers, but also honing your own special gifts and abilities that then you bring to the reading of this and the channeling of it, et cetera, et cetera. I'm literally going to teach you how to channel and how to channel the numbers in the practitioner's course. And from the completion of this course, there will be so of course you'll receive like a practitioner's certificate. there will also be, you'll also get a little stamp thing that you can add to your website or whatever, just to say, hey, Gigi approved. I have trained with Gigi, with Georgina Grace. So you can trust that this reading is legit, right? Because there's so many out there that haven't fully trained in numerology and that practice it. And this is why there's so much confusion and inaccuracy out there. So you will get that. You will get offered a spot on my podcast to share about you and essentially to get you out there and added to a database on my website for of approved practitioners or readers so that people can maybe they want to go to someone local, you know, that's a direct, you go straight there. And a few other things from this. So, yeah, I'm really, really, really excited about this. I haven't fully teased out how long it'll be. It's going to be a minimum 8 weeks, minimum. It's probably going to be more. But yes, so if you're interested in that course, you want to be added to the wait list to that because there is a bit of a wait list now. I have quite a few people already submitting their interest to join that course. So if you want to join that wait list, there will be a second round, of course, this year. But if you want to join the pilot course, if you want to be on the wait list and you don't, if you don't get into this first practitioner's course, you'll of course be the first priority for the next one, then please email me. Please email me. You can do so, or you can contact me either via the website directly by filling out a contact form, or you can email me directly at connect, CONNECT, connect at georginagrace.net. Again, leave it all below in the description, all the links. And then I'm really excited to also share that I promise I'll be done with these announcements soon and I'll get into the juice of this episode. Thank you for bearing with me through this. I told you this would be a big episode. So I'm really excited to also share that, Dale Holmes and I did a freaking amazing, we put together this amazing event in Woodend in October last year. Seems like millions of years ago and also just yesterday. And, it was kind of, we put it together last minute and we weren't really sure how it was going to go or the outcome or the turnout, et cetera, et cetera. And it just blew all of our socks off. It was just so much fun. It was a huge learning experience and it was a total sellout. My amazing husband, Corey, he filmed the entire event. He did everything. So he did the filming, the sound, everything of that event, whilst also caring for our 2-year-old son actively at that event. So he had multiple cameras going, managing all the different microphones and the sound and the lighting and all of this stuff, while also chasing around a 2-year-old who was and is very active and does not sit still ever in the slightest. And because I was managing the event, I was focused on the event. I was emceeing. I had my own little numerology bit that I was doing a talk on and, all of it. So Corey was holding the fort down with playing the dad role and also doing everything else that he was doing. And he has created an epic video recording of that entire event. He edited the entire video, put all these amazing graphics and music and blah, 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 all of it and made it really incredible. And I'm so, 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 so proud of him and for what he's created because I know the background and actually the work that went into it. So if you missed out on that event live, you can now catch up on the recording, and I promise you, you will freaking love it. Um, it was actually really profound. The actual talk that Dale did and the presentation, the things that he spoke about were bang on and actually, like I said, really profound, really, really, really profound. And he articulated things exquisitely and pulled things together in a way that just made so much sense. It was his first event like this. He has spoken at other events before where he was a guest at someone else's event. So this was the first time it was his event. He was speaking at his own event. And so it was a really, really, really big deal. And there were lots of nerves. And yeah, we're both just so, so, so proud of that entire thing and how it happened and the result and everything like that. So we would love for you to go head to Dale's website. I'll put a link below. What is his website? It is beyonddarktolight.com. That's Dale Holmes's website. And if you go to the tab at the top that says Relive the Live, click on that, you'll be able to purchase the full edited, fancy, professional recording of that event for something like 23 Aussie dollars, and then you have access to that forever. You will not regret it. It's about a 3 and a bit hour recording, and it'll knock your socks off, I promise. The last thing that I am going to share is that if you listen to this episode and you're like, I want to know my own energy for this year and what I'm in for this year personally, because everything I talk about in this episode and anything I always talk about when I'm doing these videos and I'm talking about the energetics, etc., is always the universal energy. So the universal, everybody's going to be under this energy, but there is your own personal experience, your own personal energy. That obviously I can't do when I'm doing these public videos and recordings and podcasts, etc. So if you want to book in your 2025 reading, whether you've had a reading with, if you've had a reading with me before, you've had a 2 hour session, an initial reading, then you just go ahead and book a follow-up session, a 1 hour follow-up session, unless you want the whole 2 hours to yourself and you really want to get in the details and go month by month, et cetera, then go ahead, go for your life, book the 2 hour session. But if generally speaking, if you want just if you've already had a 2 hour session and you just want to follow up for 2025, go ahead, book the follow-up session, the 1 hour session. If you haven't had a reading with me before at all, and you want a 2025 reading, you're going to have to book the 2 hour session because we need to go through all of the pieces with you. Okay. So head to my website, book in for your 2025 reading sooner rather than later because I am booking up already. Okay. And I am also going to be changing my availabilities this year as well because my family structures are changing. So therefore, my availabilities are changing. I'm hoping to do less evening work because it is, whilst being an active mum of a very active toddler, it's quite challenging to be full-time during the day and then also stay switched on in the evening when so much of me wants to switch off. So I'm hoping that this year I can bring more balance in that and rejig my schedule so that I can be more available for family time in the evening and work time during the day. So yes, I am booking up very, very, very quickly. Please head to my website. Again, I'll put the links below for the readings and book your 2025 reading in ASAP, okay? Because this year's going to be a big year. You want to make the most of it and set yourself up powerfully, knowing exactly the wave that you are riding this year. Okay, thank you very much for your patience while I did the announcements for What's coming? There's a lot coming this year. So, of course, I had to spend a bit of time doing that. Okay, here we go, 2025. As I mentioned earlier, the energy for this year is a 9 universal energy. Okay. How I got there is because 2 plus 2 plus 5 from 2025 equals 9. Okay. Does the 2, 2, and 5 energy still come through? Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. However, not necessarily in the way that you probably will think. And so I'm going to firstly address the 9 energy. I'm going to talk a lot about the 9 energy for a bit, okay? Because I really want you to have a good grasp on this energy because you're going to be in it this entire year. And it's intense. The 9 energy is intense. I am not going to sugarcoat this. Okay, that would not do you any favors. The 9 energy is intense. And if you have 9 energy, if you know someone that has 9 energy, particularly if they're born on the 9th, you will have experienced the intensity that I am talking about. Okay, you can just take a moment to think about that person or your intensity. So, 9s, if we think about the cycle of numbers, okay, 1 is at the beginning, 9 is at the end. So therefore, 9s are at the end of the cycle. So they are interested in ending cycles. 9s of all the numbers are the healers. Every number has its own special capacity for healing, but the healing is a byproduct of that energy. For example, the 2 energy, this is the frequency of love. Infinite, unconditional, pure, excuse me, love. When love is present, of course, healing happens. But the healing is a byproduct of the expression of that energy, which is love. Okay. So each energy, each number has the capacity for healing. The 9s are the healers. Okay. So healing, if you have done any healing, any version of shadow work, therapy, etc., you know it's not a walk in the park. Okay. So this is part of the reason why 9s are so intense because they are walking healers. They are walking natural attractors of that which requires healing. Everywhere you go, 9 energy, drama follows, toxicity follows. There's always something somewhere that requires healing, whether it's you for your own life, for your own journey, from your own trauma, et cetera, or just out there in the world. You seem to attract to you all of the intensities, whether it's the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the violence, the abuse, lots of rage and anger, and all of this. Or you have naturally been drawn to becoming some level of healer, whether it's in the mainstream sense, counselor, psychologist, nurse, doctor, etc., 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 or it's in the more alternative slash traditional sense, uh, energetic healer, massage therapist, spiritual counselor, psychic, even teacher, coach, all of these things. Okay, this is 9 energy. They are the healers. They are here to heal. So let's look at the cycle of numbers and what happens. What is supposed to happen in a natural organic cycle? A cycle is 9. A full cycle is 9. 9 years, 9 months, pregnancies, 9 months, right? 9 days. So every 9 days, 9 months, 9 years, we are cycling constantly. When we are under a specific energy, our whole purpose while we are under that energy is to focus on what that energy wants us to focus on. For example, say we're under a one energy, okay, we're at the beginning of the cycle. Because the ones are at the beginning of a cycle, what typically happens is new beginnings under that one energy. So a new beginning would be like you gave birth for the very first time. Okay. And you're under a one energy. So your life is going to be all about and focused on that one energy, that new beginning, that new birth, that new baby. You're a new mom, you're a new father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So you are, and it's meant to happen this way. You are meant to focus on that new beginning. That's not to say things outside of that bubble don't disappear and don't just stop happening. Life doesn't stop happening. People don't just start being angels in your life where they never have been. And, the world doesn't hit pause. Everything continues to happen. So things happen outside of that bubble of that energy, of the focus of that energy, of that new beginning, the one energy, et cetera, et cetera. But we have zero capacity to actually deal with those things happening because we've just had a freaking new baby. So the things that have happened outside of that, we shelve. We shelve for later. I'm going to deal with that later. Can't deal with that right now. I am focusing here, and you need to focus there. The energy is forcing you in a lot of ways to focus there. It's not wanting you to look elsewhere. Okay. This is a natural, organic cycle. Then the next year, the next month, the next day, we're under a two energy. Same thing, except two energy things. Now, okay, you've had this new baby, right? It's very interesting that a lot of relationships, what is it? It's 80% of divorces that happen always happen within 2 years. 2 years of having a baby, first baby. Interesting. See, because the two energy, the second year of the cycle, twos are all about love, aka relationships. So what happens under that two energy, you're going to be dealing with your relationships and the toxicity of it. Okay. Whether you begin a new relationship and you're focused on the new relationship, or whether your current relationship, like I said, toxicity is brought to the surface and you are dealing with your freaking relationship. Things happen outside of that relationship. And it may not even just be your romantic relationship. It could be your business relationship, your best friend you've had for blah, blah, whatever it is, your relationship with yourself, right? You're going to be dealing with the connection and the love and any toxicity that exists anywhere where love exists for you. Okay. And that's what that energy is pulling for. Things will still happen outside of that bubble of that energy and that frequency of what that is pulling for you to focus on. But I got no capacity for it because it's very hard to operate outside of the bandwidth, the frequency that you have on offer for that period of time of your life. Very, 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 very hard. In fact, to do so is to operate out of alignment. So, because you're focused on the two energy things, everything else gets shelved. And this continues to happen all the way through the cycle until we get to the nine. When we get to being under a nine energy, the focus, because the nines are the healers, because we are completing a cycle, that is the intention, the focus, the spotlight, the pull of this energy is on everything that you have shelved from the previous cycle of numbers of energy that you've been under. Ideally, every 9 years, we go through the process of when we get to the nine energy, we actually stop and deal with the things that we've shelved. But what happens? What happens is at a global scale, the people who are at the very inner circles of the world, the powers that think they are, you know, those people, the Satanists, whatever you want to label them, the people that think they're in charge, that they have known about the energetics. Of course, they're not going to let something like this, go, oh, yeah, that's not going to make any difference. We won't worry about that. No, 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 no. A liar has to cover all of the bases. This is one of the big bases that they must cover. So, what they do is they take the organic energy and they work really hard to invert it, to keep us in a state of reaction, trauma, et cetera, right? Because this means we're controlled and we're going to look external from ourselves for the answers rather than looking to ourselves, our own sovereignty, our own truth, our own knowing for the answers. Okay, so ideally, every 9 years, we actually deal with the stuff that's on the shelf. And this is, in the ideal, perfect world, this would be part of everybody's way of living life. All right. Ninth year, ninth month, ninth day, we got to declutter. We got to just deal with it and start anew. This is not the case. When we are now, so now 2025, we're under a 9 energy. At a global scale, okay, what this is going to look like and the way that they have inverted this energy is they have intentionally used the 9 energy to perpetuate a state of being that is traumatized. And what they do is they traumatize and then they continue to re-traumatize over and over and over again because this keeps the wound open, which keeps you as far away from healing, therefore completing, dealing with, et cetera, everything that you need to in order to then ascend to your next timeline, level, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So 9 energies are, because they are the healers, their playing field is energy itself. So remember I said about the numbers you have are like the channels you've subscribed to. The numbers you don't have, you haven't subscribed, you don't get access. Well, the 9s, they have access to all the channels, regardless of whether they've subscribed or not. In fact, the 9s are actually the frequency in which those channels operate on. So the 9 energy is a universal energy. It's a big part of the reason why Tesla was obsessed with this number, as well as the 3 and the 6. We're not talking about those here. We're talking about the 9 energy. He was obsessed with this number because it is the DNA that exists in the trees, in our skin, in the computer screen, et cetera, et cetera. It is universal, meaning when something happens under a 9 energy, it happens everywhere because it's energy itself. We are all energy. Everything is energy. 9/11 happened under 9/11 because if they do it under a 9 energy, it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, or where you are on the earth, you feel the trauma of that event energetically disperse. That was just one big satanic ritual. Okay. And the trauma of that just energetically disperse. That's what happens under a 9 energy. Okay. So that trauma occurred. And it's just re-traumatization every time that nine energy comes back around. Because whilst they want to re-traumatize us so that we don't heal and move forward in our lives, in our soul expression, in our soul journey, in our soul purpose, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So this is what they're going to do. And we've never been, we're in 2025. And before I mention that the two energies represent love, okay, and I have spoken a little bit about this, where being in the 2000s alone, the frequency of the planet is so much higher than it ever has been before. And this is why those of us that were around and born and, in the 1900s, there is a huge difference between what life was like in the 1900s versus the 2000s. All of a sudden, 2000s come along. People like you and me have so much more space to exist as ourselves in the 2000s because it's love. We are globally guided by an energy that is pulling for love. Okay. When love is present, unconditionalness is present, acceptance is present, connection, affection, affinity, wanting to be united and together and as one and for each other is present. Emotions and feeling, all of this is two energy. So those of us that are sensitive souls, you and I listening to this, have much more space to exist as ourselves in the 2000s than we did in the 1900s. 1900s, that 1 and 9, which is also a 1, that is a masculine energy. And the masculine, the 1 energy is divine masculine energy. This is protector, leader, provider, incredible masculine energy that is so healing when it is healthy and within itself in its highest possible way. But that was also inverted. So instead of true masculine, true divine masculine, all we got was flat out dominance. Flat out dominance. There was no space in the 1900s to be anything at all. You do as you're told. That's it. You're seen and you're not heard. That's it. You can't be anything that you want to be, think you are. You can't even express it. You can't even say it out loud. You can't even think it, right? Just head down, bum up, do as you're told, do what you're expected. That's it. Of course, there was many of us that rebelled against that, but that was the energy of the 1900s for the most part. In a nutshell, 2000s is very different, very, very, very different. Not alike that at all. There are people, there are kids that if their heart's not in it, I'm not doing it, and you literally cannot do anything about that. That we would never get away with that in the 1900s. So very, very, very different. So this 9 energy there's a double 2 there, 2025, right? So, and like I said, when we're under a 2 energy, it's going to be all about anywhere where love is present for you in your life, meaning any relationship within your relationship with yourself, your romantic relationship, your partner, your husband, your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, blah, 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 etc. Your business relationship, your best friends, your cousins, your family, anywhere where love is present for you, under that 2 energy, the toxicity is going to be drawn to the surface. I don't know anybody that hasn't been dealing with their relationship stuff since being particularly 2020s with that double 2. Okay. The zeros, they just magnify. When you add more zeros behind a number, it just magnifies that original number. Okay. So 2025, the 202 is just magnified. Okay. But there's a nine energy. So when you have twos and nines together, this is intense. Okay, this is so intense. So, what is going to happen this year at a global scale? Okay, so firstly, the twos, the way that they have been inverted, this is a feminine energy. So, look at how the feminine is being inverted. You don't have to look far. The feminine everywhere is being inverted. This is the trans agenda. This is you can be any gender. This is the toxic masculinity. This is, hyperfeminism. There is so much around the feminine that is just being inverted, right? So this is because, of course, they have to do that because the expression of love is so high, so high. This is why we have more space because love is ultimately accepting. I love you no matter what you are, no matter what you do, no matter what you say. It is unconditional. That is what true, authentic, real, infinite, pure love is. I love all of it and all of you. This is why we have more space to be, because we are simply under the 2000s and we're under the 2020s. So this is naturally a higher frequency. Okay. And just by virtue of babies being a physical manifestation, meaning we have a very focused physical being, ball of energy that is just I don't even know how to describe it, but it's all focused in this one physical manifestation of energy, of this high level freaking two energy. All babies that are being born, particularly the 2020s babies, just by virtue of them existing on the planet and holding a physical manifestation, aka being physically here in a physical body, that is a massive physical manifestation of energy. Them existing is simply raising the vibration of frequency so that there is more space to exist and be and feel and express the feelings and emotions and the sensitivity, et cetera, et cetera. So, because that is so high level energy and so much to combat, they have to severely invert it if they want to stay in power and control. Okay, so that's why we're seeing such extreme things when it comes to the feminine and inverting the feminine and trans and the blah, 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 all of this stuff. It's so extreme. People are mutilating their bodies. This is how extreme it is, so, but they have to do that if they want to remain in control because this energy is a very difficult energy to keep controlled. It's literally heart space. So now we add the 9 into the mix. This is what naturally happens under a 9 energy is healing occurs, whether you like it or not. This means things for you will be brought to the surface, whether you like it or not. Old things you thought you dealt with will be brought to the surface, whether you like it or not. Past relationships, anything that's open-ended for you, anything that you've swept under the rug, that you have been tolerating over your life that you know you shouldn't in whatever capacity, this is all going to be brought to the surface. All of it, all the stuff you don't want to deal with, this is going to be brought to the surface. Anything that is on that shelf, this is going to be brought to the surface. The spotlight will be on the stuff you haven't wanted / had capacity to deal with. Okay, this is the intensity of the 9 energy. So healing is going to occur in one way or another. There will be a lot of people that will lean into that and go, whoa, I thought I dealt with that, but okay, let's go. Let's freaking get the rubber gloves on and let's go down again and let's deal with this. Okay. It's still not going to be nice. It's still not going to be pretty. It's going to be challenging and messy and all of the stuff that it is when you deal with the shadow. But there are those that are going to lean into it. There are those that are going to lean away from it, right? And this is where the ugliness will come out in people. I know for myself when I'm under a 9 energy, my husband's under a 9 energy, we nickname each other Ragey McRager because we are just on edge. Everything is on the edge. All of the stuff that we didn't even think was there is on the surface, on the edge. You are easily ticked off. Something small triggers you, but it triggers all of the stuff that is on the freaking shelf, right? So this is going to be happening for every single person, every single living being that is on this planet and existing in 2025. All of the stuff. And none of us can escape this. None of us. Okay, it doesn't matter how evolved you are, how much work you've done, there's a good chance that because of all of that work, the stuff that is going to come to the surface is the deepest of the deep stuff. If you haven't done much work on yourself, well, it's going to be freaking intense because it's going to be coming at you this year, like wave after wave after wave after wave, right? And it will feel like it is never ending. This year will feel like 200 years in one with the level of movement, change, transformation that will occur. Okay, when it naturally gets ugly and messy when anything comes to an end. Okay, just think about what happens when someone passes away, and then we have to deal with all of the stuff and working through the stuff and who's entitled to what, and the how much money is dispersed, and that gets messy. People get ugly, relationships break down. This is what happens under a 9 energy. Death will occur. Okay. This is a real life reality thing that is going to happen. Okay. There will be actual death this year. There will be. Probably more so than there has been. That is just what happens. And as a result of many things that have occurred in this past cycle, very experimental things. And there's been a lot about it in the news lately. You all know what I'm talking about. There will be death. Okay. So prepare yourself for there's going to be actual death this year. Now, there's also going to be metaphorical deaths of identities, of relationships, of partnerships, of jobs, of positions, of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Things will abruptly come to an end. It's already started. It's already started. My husband's, there's the CEO. I don't even know. There's like the big wig boss and then the one directly under him. Been there for forever. Made redundant overnight. Crazy. No one saw it coming. Has totally rocked everything. He was such a solid, cog in the wheel. Gone like that. And this is the kind of thing. This is the energy of 2025. Okay. So, and at a global level, okay, I know you're probably freaking out, but like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I will give you recommendations, so bear with, but I want to tell you about the global scale things. At a global level, because they need to invert everything and keep us traumatized, this year, they're going to throw everything at us. Everything. Okay. They're going to throw everything at us. And I mean all the agendas that they have been hinting at, all of it. Just expect all of it to happen this year. So when you see it, do not invest your energy. Do not give your energy to it because you already knew this was going to happen. This is already expected. Okay. Under a nine energy, what they want is your energy. They want your energy. They want to harvest your energy. They want to harvest your energy and they want to inject you with traumatized, programmable, ripe for the pickings energy. Do not give into it. Do not give into the fear. Do not give into the concern, worry, doubt, chaos, etc., etc., etc. at a global scale. Okay, this is why I talk about the individual level. It's so important because you are the one that we are the ones that make up this collective, okay? And it's your life that matters and what you do in your life. It matters so much. And if you allow yourself to be derailed by these agendas, then that's it. They got you, right? So now, under a nine energy, energetically, we are ripe for the picking. We are on the surface. Everything we don't want to deal with is on the surface. We are feeling sensitive, vulnerable, raw, like all of those wounds are like wide open. Okay. This is a time where they are like, yes, you know? So I want you to know that they're going to throw everything at us to try and get access to those wounds and to our energy. Okay. It's going to be alien invasions, digital IDs. They're going to crack down on the freaking security and watching us through all the bloody cameras and listening and all of this. It's transhuman agenda and AI and presidential assassinations and more health outbreaks and more vaccine mandates and floods. And there's going to be, what else? There's going to be lockdowns and power outages and internet crashes and financial crashes, everything. What I'm saying is it is all going to play. They're going to throw it all at us this year, okay? Because they need to. They need to do as much as they possibly can to invert this energy and to stop us from healing, aka completing the cycle. Jason Brashears talks about there's this, oh, maybe it's not just Jason, but it's like this 26,000 year cycle thing that occurs. I'm sorry, I'm a bit too brain dead right now to know exactly what that's called, but I know it happens. Something happens on a 26,000 year cycle. If my husband was here, he'd be able to tell me exactly what it is. 26 is eight. And so a lot of the time, this eight energy is used throughout many, 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 many different places and things. Okay. I use eight energy a lot. And on one hand, yes, it's for business and control and all this kind of stuff, but eight energy is a loop, goes around and around and around and around, right? And there's certain ways that you're supposed to really use that energy because it's a cycle. One energy leads you when it's done in its ideal way. It leads you to the next. So the eight energy leads to the nine, leads to the completion, to set up the new. But when you see any kind of cycling that happens with an eight energy, what that is doing is they're inverting that cycle to stop you, to stop it from getting to that layer, that nine energy, that natural ending of the cycle to go through and deal with the old and integrate and learn and blah, 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 and then invite and welcome a new cycle. Okay. It's keeping us in the loop, keeping us going around and around and around and around, never, just recycling. Okay, that eight energy is being inverted in this way. So we're never being allowed to actually release, let go, heal, breathe, start over, fresh. That's why it's such an unfamiliar practice to do this. That's why it was so intense in the part one of Align 25, when people were like, whoa, like they were like dead energetically. They were just like, I'm exhausted. I'm done. This was intense. We've always been stopped from that. And whenever we do naturally get to it, because every 9 days, every 9 months, every 9 years, they invert it. They invert it so that we stay traumatized and programmable. Okay. So what I'm saying is they're going to throw everything at us. Everything. There's going to be World War III this year. Okay. Good chance it's going to be between the Christians and the Jews. Can you say Jews? The Jewish, the Muslims, etc. You know what I mean? It's going to be huge. And they're already playing this out. They're already playing this out. Okay. They're already hinting at it. It's going to happen. It's all going to happen this year. The five energy in 2025, if you go back in history, a lot of wars happened under a five energy, started under a five energy. So World War One, World War Two, they both started under a five energy. Okay, the 2024 Olympics, that was a five energy, five. A lot of numerologists have labeled the five energy the number of war. And I don't like that. I don't like those kinds of labels, but it just simply because the five energy is around whenever these wars happen, that's why they label it. And so when you go further and further in history, you start to find more wars, the dates, there's always this five energy around. Why? The real reason why is because five is an extreme energy. Donovan Gall talks about the symbol of the five, how it's got the round bottom and it will swing. It's like a pendulum. It'll swing one extreme way or the other. It's a really great way to explain the five energy. They're extreme energies. If you have a five energy, you don't do anything halfway. You are either 100% or 0%. There's no middle ground for you, right? You're all in or not in. Wherever your focus is, you're 100% there. Okay. Five energies is an extreme type energy. So they use this for war because it's like divide and conquer. If I want the entire population of the planet to be distracted and take either one extreme side or the other, I'm going to do it under an energy that's pulling for that. I don't care what side you're on, but I care that you're on a side. Because if you're on a side, you're against another side, and that's where your focus is. You're not seeing the middle ground. You're not seeing, oh, actually, this side is attached to a string, and oh, there's the puppeteer. Hang on, they're also holding the other string, right? You're not seeing that both sides are controlled by the same entity. Because if everybody was seeing that, well, I'm not taking a like that's no, so this is all about taking one extreme side or the other. Okay. And this is the kind of year we're up for. So this is the energy of 2025. I'm telling you, it's going to be a big one. Now, for those that have been on the awakening journey for some time, this is what we've been waiting for. We've wanted this. A lot of us have said, I just want it to hurry up and happen so that we can get through it and get to the other side. Well, this is the beginning of the end, essentially. Okay. We're going to start seeing it. And, we really did start seeing it when COVID happened. And that really unfolded in the crazy way that it did. But now it's the next layer of that. Okay. So strap yourself in because 2025 is a big one. Now, in terms of my recommendations for this year, invest in your healing. Invest in your healing, whatever that is. Okay. And if that looks like you are a healer yourself, that is your job, that is your vocation, invest in your healing. Okay. Invest in your healing ability, in your services as a healer, but also your own healing. Doing this under a 9 energy, this is what it looks like to operate in a. And this is where the first dropout occurred. So, right here, I was talking about and giving recommendations to those of you that are practicing healers or have a desire to practice. This is an excellent year to make sure that you are an option for those that will be looking for alternative healing options, similar to what happened in after COVID happened, right? And there was an influx of people reaching out to seeking help with psychologists, counselors, et cetera, because of the trauma that occurred through COVID. There was such an influx that the government actually provided well, they didn't provide, obviously, we all paid for it, but essentially they gave a total of something like 20 free sessions with a psychologist, part of a mental health plan, et cetera, after COVID. So there was this huge influx after COVID that occurred. And I believe that a huge influx is going to occur once again, but people are going to start to see that actually, I don't want to go to someone that is part of a system that made me this way in the first place, right? So that is what I was talking about before this first power outage. As I said, persistent as ever. So we are going to dive straight back into it and pick up almost where we took off. Thank you so much for your patience. Oh, so unfortunately, my lighting has just gone. So you're going to have to put up with this terrible lighting that I now have, unfortunately. Terrible. It's terrible. It's absolutely shocking. But the show must go on. So where I was at before I got cut off was the recommendation for this year, for 2025, is invest in your healing. It is the biggest message that I could send to you. Invest in your healing. The people, the places, the things you see, the things you hear this year will trigger the bejesus out of you if it hasn't already. Okay? Oh, weird, weird lighting happening right now. Apologies. You will be triggered this year. It is inevitable. Nobody can escape this. Not a single one. Okay. There's literally something really weird going on with the power. The lights keep changing. The lights keep flickering and the internet is dropping in and out. It's very, very, very strange. So hopefully we can get through this. My apologies. There's clearly something that doesn't want me talking about this. So this year, the message is so clear. invest in your healing. You are going to be triggered this year, whether it's from the events that unfold this year on a global scale, whether it is from your own family history, whether it's from your relationships, whether it's from your job, your work, etc. You will be insanely triggered this year. It is going to happen. It is absolutely inevitable. Invest in healing it. Invest in healing it. What is it to heal? Healing is transmuting. The nine energy itself is a walking transmuter of energy. This is how it is so universal, because what it does, being a healer, if you have one energy and it's unhealed one energy, the nine energy takes the unhealed version of your one energy, transmutes it into its healed higher frequency, sends it back to you as healed one energy. If you've got two energy, if you've got eight energy, you've got seven energy, five, whatever your energy is that needs healing, the nine energy will take the unhealed version of it, transmute, and send it back to you healed. Okay, as its healed version. This is the power of the nine energy. This is the opportunity of this year. The five energy is an opportunistic energy. It goes where the ball goes. If the ball is bouncing this way, I'm going in that direction, right? It's opportunistic. Okay. So every time you experience being triggered, whatever capacity, opportunity to heal something within yourself and integrate your true soul frequency into your physical reality. Okay, that is what we want to do. That is the integration process. That's what you want to integrate. You don't want to integrate more trauma into your physical reality. You want to integrate your truest soul expression into your physical reality. That's what we want to do. In order to do that, we need to heal the stuff that is in our way, that blocks us, that is the resistance, that is the obstacle from that. Okay. So this is the message for 2025. It is the single most act of rebellion that you could do this year is actually stop everything and invest in your own healing. Okay, it is so critical, it's so important. It's exactly what they, air quotes, do not want you to do. They do not want you to heal. They do not want you to end cycles. Okay, and ending cycles can happen in beginnings. The nine energy is a masculine energy. Okay, the masculine energies are the doers, they're the action takers, they're the initiators. Something needs doing, they will do it. Okay, it's action, very action orientated. So this is why the nine energy, it's a very cut and dry type energy. So it's that level action taker, right? So you want to take the action, you want to initiate, you want to just deal with it. Okay. I cannot stress this enough. Invest in the healing. Do whatever you can to not look the other way, to not avoid it, to not suppress it, to not resist it. Do whatever you can to lean into it, pull at the threads, and let yourself go to the places that you've resisted going, you haven't been ready to go to, or the energy wasn't pulling for you to go to those places in the past. Go to the places I can't talk. Go to those places this year. It will be one of the biggest turning points for you, for your soul expression and your journey here, and globally, collectively. Okay, the shit is going to hit the fan this year in more ways than one. Can you imagine being someone who went through this experimental drug period, took certain things into their body, into their children's bodies, but didn't want to, but felt like they had to. They went against their own innate intelligence and knowing and intuition and gut feeling. They haven't had the energetic capacity to truly deal with the repercussions of that for themselves, energetically and emotionally, mentally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually. Well, the spotlight's going to be on that this year. It's going to be a lot of people, a lot of angry people, a lot of rage coming out from people. It's going to be messy, chaotic. If you're not already feeling the intensity, it's like we've just started a new year, but why am I not really feeling the newness that I normally feel with a new year? Like, springtime and it feels fresh and new and exciting. Not necessarily feeling that this year. We're only 2 days in and I feel like I'm like ready for it to end already. It's already intense. It doesn't feel like a new beginning because it's an ending. It's a weird kind of whiplash type feeling, right? Where it's like, on one hand, we have just begun. We've just started a new year. But because the energy of this new year is an ending, is a nine, it doesn't feel like a new beginning. It doesn't feel fresh. It feels like, oh, stuff is being drudged up from the past. And I'm feeling things and I feel on edge and it feels very intense. So don't look the other way this year. Turn around, face it, invest in it. I promise you that abundance within yourself, within your own being, will unfold at a level that you have never seen or thought possible before. Financial abundance, emotional abundance, relationship abundance. So much will unfold from this, so much power within yourself, within your capacity as a soul essence will unfold so much. So please, if you take anything from this, invest in your healing. Spend the money, spend the time, spend the energy on healing the things that you become triggered by. Okay. It is your responsibility to manage and heal and be accountable for your triggers. Your responsibility. If you're triggered by something, it's not up to the world to avoid triggering you. It's up to you to deal with why you have that trigger in the first place, where that came from. Pull at the thread, find the origins, transmute, heal that energy. How you transmute, how you heal is by feeling. Literally going, reliving, refeeling. The trauma has already happened. The trauma has already happened, but you haven't processed the experience of that through your body. So you need to feel it. You need to feel the emotion, the anger, the rage, the upset. You need to feel it. You need to express it in a safe place, in a safe space. This is what it is to heal. You have to feel it. And this is what we have avoided doing so much of our lives, especially if you're a 1900s baby. There's no space for feeling in the 1900s. It was all dominance and doing. You weren't seen as valuable if you weren't doing something in the 1900s. Okay. So we have been trained, programmed to not feel, therefore, not heal. That is the inversion of the 1 and the 9 in the 1900s. dominance with the one energy, not feeling and not healing, and keeping you traumatized, therefore programmable with that nine energy. And the cycle just perpetuates round and round and round, round and round and round. Now it's time to stop, feel, so that you can heal. The world around you is going to be chaos. You being the one that is listening to this, therefore, you're awake, you're very aware, you've done a lot of work already. You are going to be an anchor point to a lot of people in your life. So it's really up to you to be a solid anchor point for those people and to support. And this is what you're here for, to help usher this transition through. Okay. It's a big transition for a lot of people. Can you imagine learning everything that you know now in a very short period of time? 1 year less. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. And it's going to be very personal for people. In the same token, if you are a healer, actively a healer, particularly if you're an alternative healer, energetic healer, body worker, spiritual counselor, etc., 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 those kinds of healing modalities, homeopathic healer, whatever version of healer in the alternative, more organic version of healing. And if you are someone that has desires for this, you feel the pull to be a healer, to offer your healing ability, to facilitate healing in whatever capacity this is. Okay, you know if I'm talking to you or not. Invest in that. Be an option this year for people to go to. At the same time that they, air quotes, they are going to be throwing everything at us. Okay, this is what happens. It's desperation. Okay, it is desperation because the energy that is on offer is freaking powerful. And if it's harnessed in the correct way, has the power to literally end it all. Okay, so they're desperate. They're going to throw everything at us. They really will. Every possible thing, they're going to throw it at us. Part of what is going to happen. So that's going to happen. But at the same time, a lot of truth is going to come to the surface. A lot of people will wake up to that previously not awake, right? This Diddy thing, getting such mainstream traction has been such a major piece for awakening completely asleep people. All of a sudden, people that were not questioning at all are now questioning because of this Diddy case. Hang on, Diddy? What? I used to listen to all of these people and he was like, what? They were all connected and this, wait. All of a sudden, hang on, let me go back and re-listen to those lyrics. Whoa, what are they saying in those lyrics? People are now questioning that previously were not questioning. So there is about to be a mass unfolding of truth. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's going, all of these things are going to be brought to the surface. People are going to see them for the first time ever. They're questioning the thing that they've, music, something that they've never even thought to question in their lives, right? People were in a nine energy, okay, in 2025. People are going to want to heal. They're going to want to go for support to places for their healing. And what's going to happen is it's going to be very apparent that, hang on, I need support. But I've just learned that the places that I have always gone to for support are actually, whoa, they're trying to keep me sick and unwell. And anyone that's kind of learned it from these universities, all the truth of all of this is going to come out. So people are going to want to heal at a grand scale this year, and it's going to not just be this one year, but it will perpetuate for years to come, right? You and I, we've been on this awakening journey for some time now, and the healing journey just continues. And people are going to really start to look elsewhere. If you are someone who is desiring, feeling the call to offer your services up, whether you have offered them up before or not, whether you are simply newly feeling the call to be a healer in whatever capacity that is, it may even be writing a book, just sharing your story. Whatever it is, if you're feeling the pull, all of this is contributing to healing. Invest in it. Invest in that. Be an option for people when they are looking elsewhere for support on their own healing. Okay. Super critical, super, super, super important. You will be triggered this year. You're already being triggered in so many ways. You're already feeling really intense. Your tolerance is going to be very low this year for things that are not organic, for things that are not real, for things that are not true, for the same old cycles playing out, the same old dramas, the same old. Your tolerance for all of these things is going to become very, very, very low. You're going to want out of any and all of them, these repeating things that have not served you. It will become apparent, very obvious, very in your face. What have I been putting up with for so long? And you will want out. So invest in your healing. Go find someone that you feel safe with and work with them over time or do the course, whatever it is. Okay. Investing in your healing can look like starting something new, right? A really good example is like if I'm in business, I've had a story of scarcity that I need support in the business. I need someone to take over the admin, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not making enough money. I can't pay. Scarcity. Stop speed. Investing in your healing would look like hiring someone anyway. It's a beginning. It's a whole new beginning. You just started a new cycle, right? But in one fell swoop, in one action, you have started a new beginning, ended a cycle of scarcity, and created a new cycle of abundance. Okay. And healing has occurred and will continue to occur throughout this journey of having someone work with you and take burden away from you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So that can look like healing. You don't need to do it alone. So reach out to someone, ask for help, ask for support, get what you need to invest in your healing and heal. It is the number one biggest act of rebellion that you could possibly do under a year, under an energy where all they, air quotes again, are going to want you to do is the complete opposite. They want you to stay in your cycles of trauma. They want you to stay in a state of being triggered, fight or flight, okay? Because that is good for business. They have their control over you. They can harvest your energy from you. They can literally press F5 on the jukebox, and they know exactly the reaction that they're going to get from you. Okay, so invest in your healing. Um, so I said that I was also going to talk about 2030, okay, because we are halfway there. I know this episode's gone on for a bit now, so just bear with me. Okay. 2030 will be a big year. Okay. I have seen some things now, and things have been shown to me psychically through channeling, et cetera, that 2030, it is a universal five energy, but it's two and three. Okay. And the two energy is love. And I used to think that love was the highest frequency. How could it not be? It's love. But I have since learned that authenticity, truth, vibrates at a frequency that is at least 400 times higher than the frequency of love. So we have here in one number, 2030, exacerbated, magnified by those zeros, the two highest frequencies. Those two together, love and truth, love, authenticity, connection. This is a massive frequency, power packed, and it's a universal five energy. So it will be a year of choice, a time of choice. But the three energy that we are moving towards, the 2030s, this is truth. And this is truth at the heart space level, meaning the most truest truth possible, your soul's truth. I am experiencing, and a lot of other readers that I know are experiencing, people come to them in masses and they're really done with their 3D kind of life, the job and the work and the blah, 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 and the bills and blah, blah. They're kind of done with that. They want to know what my soul incarnated here to do. That's the three energy, truth at a soul consciousness level. Threes themselves represent consciousness. Okay, another number that Tessa was obsessed with, consciousness, human consciousness, the thing that scientists have not been able to explain, the thing that AI is attempting to mimic, consciousness. Okay, 2030, by the time we get to 2030, it's going to, if you're not on the path of your soul's expression, your soul's purpose, you are going to have a very difficult experience on this earth because that energy, similar to being in the 2020s, and everybody is dealing with the toxicity of their relationships, of wherever love exists. How many relationships, marriages have broken down since being in the 2000s that you know of? How many? So many, right? It's going to become incredibly difficult to exist in this world if you are not on your soul's true path. That's 2030. Your soul's aligning yourself with your soul's true consciousness. So the way that they are attempting to invert that 2030, that two and three energy, the heart and authenticity, the heart of humanity and the consciousness of humanity, is via this transhuman AI agenda. Choice, the five energy, extreme side or the other. You will take one side or the other. AI, the transhumanist agenda, or remaining sovereign. as a human. This is a big thing that we are coming into now. And you're seeing it already play out. We're halfway there, 5 years to go. And this current year, 2025, will definitely lay the foundations for that to unfold or not. Again, that is why invest in your healing. The more you invest in your healing and you do the work now to release and to feel and to heal, the more you will integrate your soul's consciousness, your soul's expression, your true soul's expression into your physical reality, the more likely you will make the right, air quotes, choice for your soul's expression. On the other hand, avoiding the triggers, avoiding the things this year will set up rocky foundations for you to make rocky decisions later on. So I don't usually like to come across in these episodes, in these videos, the sharing of these energies and what it all means, super intense and like spreading fear and all of this kind of stuff. Okay. It just so happens that the nature of this energy itself is intense and is generally something that is feared or at least intimidated, right? There's a reason why healing isn't easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it. But it is like, no, the very last straw has to break the very last camel before I go down that path, right? So, yeah, I don't like to fearmonger. And I hope and I trust that that is not what this episode has done. And it is the nature of this energy. It is intense. And as I said, I don't want to sugarcoat it because chances are you're already feeling the intensity of this. And chances are again that you've actually been feeling the intensity of 2025 months ago. Okay. I don't know about you, but the last 3 months at least of 2024 has been like, oh, someone's ripped my heart out, trampled it a bunch of times, and I'm like being dragged across the dirt, trying to get my freaking trampled up heart and put it back in my chest. Like that level of freaking intensity. You've already been experiencing people, feelings, emotions, cycles, etc., patterns from the past resurface out of the blue and the intensity that comes with that, so lean into it. Lean into it. Okay. As I said, everything that I may not have said this, but in my head I've said it. I warned you, the crazy. Um, Everything that I will be putting out this year in terms of offerings, videos, et cetera, will all be imbued with this major intention to cause and facilitate healing for you energetically. I'm going to be absolutely pumping this into everything that I am going to be doing this year. Okay, because it is so, so critical. I just need to spread the healing vibrations as far and wide as I possibly can. Okay. And everywhere. Okay. If you're in business, something in your business is going to trigger you. Invest in that. Lean into that. Work into that. Okay. Whatever it is, wherever the trigger is, it's not your physical current reality. It is a trigger from something in the past that is overlaying onto the current reality that you need to look at. Okay. It is your job, your responsibility, your accountability to manage, deal, heal, and feel your way through those triggers in order to then heal from them so that you do not have triggers that can be triggered anymore. Okay. So the last thing that, um, okay, so there's two last things I want to say. There's a really unique thing that happens in 2025. So typically, every other year, you will have the face value of the month that we're in, and then you will have the energetics of that month, which will be different to the face value. For example, last year, 2024, was an 8-year universally. The month of August, that as a face value is an 8, the eighth month. Okay. Energetically, August was a 7 energy. It's typically the energetics behind the month that actually has more power, more feeling, more potency, impact than the face value that's there, right? So, August, every man and his dog was screaming about how August was, you know, Lionsgate, triple eight energy, right? Eighth of the eighth under an 8 energy year. And it wasn't. And anybody who was aware, you may have gone ahead and done all of the recommendations and your manifestation rituals and et cetera on the 8th of the 8th. But secretly, deep down, energetically, you were not feeling it. And it was like not the energy for it. It was more of a deep inward pull to go in and really look and discover and, you know, unwind things within yourself. It wasn't a big outward energy that everyone was saying that it was. And that's because August was actually a 7 energy month. And in fact, August 8th, that day was specifically a 6. So no triple energy at all. So on one hand, people were taking the energy of 2024, the 8 energy, but then the face value of the month and the day. And you can't do that. You can't just cherry pick what makes sense for the agenda, for your narrative. You can't do that. You have to, you have to do it accurately. So if you're going to do basic, one of the most basic rules of mathematics is what you do on one side, you do to the other side. So you can't swap and change, right? So it was actually 8 energy year, 7 energy month, 6 energy day. There's no triple energy there at all. The unique thing with 2025, which is very rare and doesn't happen very often at all, is every single month. This is why 2025, not only is it a 9 energy and it's a year of completion and endings and death and healing and transformation and all of this, it's also a year that is a great reset because every month, because of the way that it works, the face value of the month is also the energy of the month. So it is literally bringing through that universal 9 energy a reset and a healing to every single energy, right? So January, first month, 1 energy, January, 10-1 energy. February, second month, 2 energy. So whatever the month is, that's the energy of the month as well. That doesn't happen. It does happen, but it's very, very, very rare. So it is the biggest opportunity to literally reset yourself energetically. You know, when people want to cleanse their chakras, they want to go through their energy centers of their body And they want to cleanse those energy centers. One of the practices to do that is to visualize the color of that chakra, right? Visualize the color of that chakra and just flood your entire system with that color of that chakra, your entire system and your energetic sphere around your body, your aura, just flood your entire system with that energy, right? And then you do that with every single color of the chakras. And this is cleansing your chakras. Okay. It's the same in homeopathics when it's all about like versus like. So we heal with likes. Okay. When you get ill, when you get sick, I'm going to homeopathically introduce the essence, the energetic blueprint behind the sickness that you have. Flood your system with it so that your system goes, whoa, okay, let's start the healing process quickly. Let's get onto this. Let's, get onto it. This is at a numerological level and a numbers level. Notice how this blueprint exists in so many other places, right? This is what's happening in 2025. We are resetting, we are healing like versus like. The one energy in the January being a one gets to be healed, reset via the 9 universal energy year with the one energy. Same with the 2 in February, 3 in March, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. September. If anything's going to go down this year in a major way, if there's going to be any kind of assassination, if there's any kind of major lockdown, shutdown, breakdown, mass war, anything, September. September. Why? The month of September is a 9. Face value, 9. Energetically, 9 for the month. Hang on, it's also a 9 year. Being under 1 9, just 1 9 is freaking intense. That's a lot. Hang on, the month of September, I'm going to be under not 2, 3 9s because it's the 9th month. It's the 9 energy month and a 9 year. And then not only that, 3 times in September, we will be not only a triple energy, but a quadruple 9 energy. Because it'll be a 9-day, the 9th day of September, which will also be a 9 energy day. So last year, on the 9th of September, September was an 8 energy month in 2024. On the 9th of September 2024, that was an 8 energy day on an 8 energy month in an 8 energy year. So in September last year, we had a triple 8 energy. It was the true Lion's Gate portal on the 9th of the 9th, 2024. Okay. 2025, the same thing happens, but it's all 9s, baby. It's all 9s. So the 9th day is a 9 energy. The 9th month is a 9 energy month. And 2025 is a 9 energy year. So if anything crazy, major, chaotic, insane, wild, death, war, violence, shootout, the Purge movie playing out, it's freaking September. Something major's got to happen in September. I know there's talks about something happening in May. It makes sense. 5. There's a lot of 5 energy happening in May. So again, some kind of war could break out in May, right? This is what happens with 5 energies. They use that for you to take sides, right? The war may break out because of some kind of presidential assassination. I don't know. Floods, whatever. Okay. So definitely May, big month. September, monumental month. Monumental. Okay. Invest in your healing so that when these things occur, you are not energetically ripe for the taking. Invest in your healing so that you can be in control and be sovereign and be empowered of your own self, energetic self, and your family in order to protect your family energetically. Okay, you being the one aware, listening to this and awake is it's up to you. The last thing that I'm going to leave you with, and it's about the nine energy that I recently learned a new thing. I love learning things. And this just fills my heart and makes me feel, I don't know, just so, I don't know, it just really fills my heart. And so I'm going to share with you this little story that I learned. And I don't remember the name of the guy, but there was a guy. Okay. I'm sure he referred to himself. People referred to him as like Professor Guy or something, right? Because he was a really important guy. Now, you know the term alpha, being alpha, like the alpha wolf, the alpha dog, the alpha male, the alpha female, the alpha, right? There was a person, a scientist, don't remember his name, who invented that title. And he invented this because he researched wolves in the wild. And of course, he studied them and he published papers on this alpha wolf being the one that leads the pack. He's at the head of the pack, leading the way. Okay, and that's what you and we know of the alpha. When someone says they're the alpha or this is the alpha or the alpha wolf, we picture the head of the pack, the leader of the pack, the front man, big one, the big wig. However, this same gentleman, not long after he published those original papers, and this is where the second power outage hit right at the end as I was just wrapping up this monumental episode. Thank you all so much for your patience. Sorry. I will just finish off that little story that I was giving you because it had a point to it. Okay. Essentially, there was that scientist. I still cannot remember his name, but he coined the term alpha, right? Which is in reference to the leader, the main guy, the big wig, right? The front man, all of those things. But after he published all of the papers on so then this term, this alpha, went viral, right? So now everyone in the world, when you hear the word alpha, this is what you think, right? The leader of the pack, the tallest, the biggest, the strongest, the blah, 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 right? After he had done that, he then went crazy trying to and published a whole bunch of papers to try and discredit his previous research because he kept studying the wolves. And actually, after he continued to study the wolves, what he noticed was that the alpha is actually not the one at the front of the pack. The alpha wolf was actually the one at the back of the pack, the one right at the back. And the reason why it's because, yes, the one at the front was leading. He was like the directions guy. We're heading this way, we're heading that way, sets the pace for everybody else, etc. But it's the wolf at the back of the pack that is watching out for the entire pack. He makes sure no one's lagging behind. He's making sure if anyone's injured, are they being taken care of? He's making sure that no one drops off behind and literally gets left behind. So this alpha, this wolf at the back of the pack is actually holding space, facilitating, managing like the entire pack. So this scientist, this is what he tried to disprove. The alpha is not the leader of the pack. The alpha is the one at the back of the pack, making sure everyone's good, everyone's where they should be, no one's injured, no one's hurt, no one's unwell, no one's left behind, literally holding space, right? He has the whole view of where we're going, where we're headed, what's going on, everything. So the reason why I wanted to share that is because the one energy is the leader of the pack. This is a masculine, divine masculine energy. The nine energy is at the back of the pack. We're in a nine energy year. So give yourself the space this year to not let any part of you behind. Okay. Take care of yourself this year. Take care of the things that boil up to the surface. Bring compassion to yourself. All of it. Okay. I wanted to leave you with that because I think it's just such a beautiful story in understanding that though we are at the end of something, right? We're at the end of something, the close of something, the completion of something, and shit is going to hit the fan in so many ways this year. You know, it's going to be freaking wild, right? It's, it's, if you're listening to this, then you're one of those incredible people that have awakened ahead of the pack, right? And there's a good chance that you are actively on a journey of your own healing, of pulling yourself apart and putting yourself back together. You've gone ahead so that you could hold space for everybody else that is now moving through this transition. So I hope that you enjoyed this huge episode. Apologies again for all of the interruptions, the cutouts, the craziness. But, you know, this is kind of 2025. This is the year that we're up for. Again, my course is coming up on the 28th of Jan. If you want to learn how to calculate and read numerology in all the ways that I do, then get yourself booked into that course. It's going to be epic. And as I said, if you're interested in the practitioner's course, you've completed fundamentals, you've completed masters, and now you just want to hone in, then send me an email to jump on that waiting list because I've got a few in line already. It's going to be big. It's looking like early Feb we'll be launching, and also keep an eye out for some super exciting news from Dale Holmes and myself. We have some pretty exciting plans coming this year. And Jeanette Archer and I are also going to be launching the psychic healing course with Jeanette Archer and a bunch of workshops, group therapy. There's so much coming at you this year. Keep an eye out for all of it. Links will be in the description below. Thank you all so much for listening. All the best for 2025. Mwah.